Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reading from my favorite subreddit, Am I the Asshole? So our first post, Am I an asshole for eating sexy potatoes? It honestly feels ridiculous that I have to post about this, but my coworker has been getting onto me about this for weeks now, so I have to ask. My whole life, I've been eating potatoes by microwaving them and then biting into them hot dog style. This is the easiest, most convenient, and intuitive way for me to eat potatoes, sweet potatoes or regular. I think this is how people in Japan eat them, or at least this is how I was taught by my Japanese parents to eat them. Whenever I go to the grocery store, I always pick out the most easily biteable potatoes, which are generally longer and thinner than most potatoes. So I worked in an office of about 30 people. We typically bring our own lunches, and I usually just eat at my desk while doing work. No one has ever commented on how I eat potatoes, but I do eat them quite frequently. Recently, a new person was hired, and she clearly has a problem with the way I eat potatoes. A couple times she's pulled me aside and asked that I just eat potatoes a little more normal. I asked her what she meant, and she said I was eating potatoes too suggestively. I was a little shocked because I literally just have my eyes glued to my screen whenever I'm eating and barely paying attention to how I eat. I told her no one else seems to have a problem with the way I eat potatoes, but she insists others were just too polite to say anything. I asked a few other coworkers who were just as confused as me about what she was saying. I figured no one else really had a problem with it, but this happened multiple times. She kept coming at me, telling me to tone down the way I eat, even accusing me of going out of my way to choose sexy potatoes. I've considered bringing them other ways, but this is just the easiest way for me to eat them, and they're honestly delicious like this to me. I asked her to maybe just not watch me eat, but apparently this is not feasible. Unfortunately, she reported me, and now I have a meeting with HR next week. This seems really dumb to me, but am I an asshole for eating sexy potatoes? Oh my god, no, you're not. This lady just watches you eat, and how do you find potatoes sexy? I'd understand if you were like, hey, that's weird, but it's not gonna bother me. I'm not gonna pull you out and be like, hey, stop eating like that because I don't like it. No, lady, you need to chill, and I don't even know how you call potatoes sexy. What's going on there? Okay, time for our second post. Am I an asshole for not wanting my sister to be my maid of honor after hearing her wedding speech? I'm engaged to my former boss, Jay. I was his secretary for about 18 months at Workplace A. I then got a better job at Workplace B. About a year later, my friend set me up with Jay, not knowing our history. After being together for a year, A applied for a job at Workplace B, in a position above me but in a different department. We told work about us, and they said it was fine. We've now been together 3 years, we're newly engaged, and while he's still in a senior position compared to me, we're in very different departments and I don't report to him at all. The wedding is planned for late next year. I was my sister's maid of honor when she got married, so I made her mine. She told me she had already written the speech for the wedding and asked if I wanted to hear it. I agreed. She read her speech, which contained a lot of jokes where the punchline will, OP will do anything to get a promotion, pay rise, or good work review, or good reference, or something about the secretary-boss dynamic we had. The guest list to the wedding so far contains a handful of our coworkers from both Workplace A and B. Jay's ex-wife, who he divorced while I was his secretary, his family, who also doubt our timeline, so I had asked my sister when she first started talking about the speech to avoid the topic entirely. I asked her if she could take out those jokes, and she said she was really proud of the speech, that those jokes were the basis of the speech, and she couldn't get rid of them. I explained why it could cause drama on the day, but she said I was overthinking this, and it wasn't going to be an issue unless I made it an issue. I talked to Jay, who basically said he made his friend his best man rather than his brother to keep the day as drama-free as possible, and my maid of honor should ideally be doing that for me. So I told my sister I'd rather have my friend be maid of honor, and I wasn't really sure about her in my bridal party at all. It's been 24 hours since then, and my sister is not happy. I've got her, mom, and dad insisting I let her be maid of honor again, or at least in the wedding party, as they feel she was only joking. She picked on something anyone would pick on for a jokey wedding speech, and I'm being overly sensitive, and the pack of the speech won't be that bad. However, the bit that makes me think I'm an asshole is my brother, who always sides with me on the stuff, is siding with them, and even saying I'm a bridezilla for cutting her out of the wedding completely, when he would have made the same jokes himself. No, you're not the asshole. First of all, when you openly said, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, she said, too bad. My speech is more important than my relationship with you and your wedding. I don't care if you're bridezilla. She's being a whole asshole here. It's okay. She did not listen to you when you said, I would like those not to be in there. Therefore, she doesn't deserve the position. Time for our third post. Am I an asshole for being a bad influence to my 15-year-old cousin? I'm 22 years old and had a baby almost 6 months ago. My 15-year-old cousin always asks me if it's fun being a mom and is curious what it's like to have my own baby. I always tell her the truth. Although it's fun at times and I love her very much, it is challenging. My aunt and uncle found out that my cousin has been talking to her friends about wanting a baby and is planning on losing her virginity so she can get pregnant. I was horrified when I found out about this, but didn't think much more about it. I saw my aunt and my grandparents, and she made some indirect but very clear comments about a young girl's acting like babies are accessories. I completely ignored it because I thought she was maybe referring to her own daughter. She called me later that day and told me I shouldn't encourage other girls to make the same poor decisions I've made. She said it was my fault her daughter decided she wanted to have a baby because I'm always strutting around with my child and glorifying having a baby. I told her that mine and her daughter's situations are completely different, and I never once encouraged her to follow in my footsteps. I requested to speak with her to try to fix the situation. She told me I don't need to be around any of her kids. I think she's being very irrational. Number 1, I'm legal age. Number 2, I didn't trap some poor teenage boy or anyone else for that matter. My partner and I have been together for an entire year prior to getting pregnant and have discussed having children. It wasn't intentional, but we're super sloppy with birth control because we both wanted kids. My partner and I financially and emotionally, for the most part, we're not perfect, stable. Our situations are not comparable at all. I would like to have a conversation with her about it, but her mother requested I have no contact with her, so I'm going to respect that until everything blows over. Am I an asshole for flaunting my child around and making motherhood look really fun? Okay, no, you're not the asshole, because you just told your cousin, like, hey, I love being a mom, it is hard, and your cousin took that as, let's go get pregnant. Now I feel bad for the cousin, and what her mom should do is like, hey, have a talk with her, this isn't the right decision, you're very young, you have no idea what you're doing. Instead, I have a feeling your aunt's just glossing over it and ignoring it completely, and just taking all the blame on you. Did she even talk to her daughter about it, or did she just be like, no, she's not gonna do it actually? I wonder if she even had the talk. Time for our last post. Am I an asshole for telling my niece her boyfriend is below her standards? Just to clarify first, my relationship with my niece, female 24. My sister passed away 10 years ago, and my brother-in-law never remarried. I have been the main mother figure in my niece's life ever since. She often comes to me for advice and support. She has dated before, but this boy is her first serious boyfriend. She texted me Friday asking if she could stop by with him so we could meet and chat a bit. I said of course, and they stayed for an hour before going out to dinner. She called me yesterday asking for my honest impression of him. I told her, with all honesty, that he was below her standards. I have the mentality that everyone should have a minimum standard for dating. The standard should reflect their own status in life. My niece is fit, has a stable career, and has solid goals, financially responsible and educated. I believe her partner should, at minimum, have all those things. This boyfriend is attractive, sure, and very nice, but is missing some key things. He is unemployed, quit his job because he didn't like the manager, has debt, and doesn't know what he wants to do as a career. They've only been dating 6 months, so these are the things that she knows now, and not the whole picture. I told her all of this, and also in my experience, these things should be deal breakers for her. I had boyfriends in the past that were less than me, and no matter how much love there was, things like financial incapability and varying ambition caused resentment and eventually an explosion of the relationships. Implosion. My bad. She was sad but receptive to my opinion. She told me thank you, and we ended the call. Today I got a call from her father, my brother-in-law, who was quite annoyed with me. He told me that my niece broke up with her boyfriend shortly after my call with her. He liked the boy, and when she told him her reasons, what I had said, he thought they were shallow. He told me giving her unrealistic expectations of men and called me bitter. I am single, but am perfectly happy to be so. Okay, I get your intentions here, that you're trying to mean well, but to be honest, you do sound bitter. You sound like you're mad that your past relationships didn't work, and you're pushing that on her. Yeah, I agree there are some things that you should, have figured out. Okay, yeah, maybe he's unemployed, and that's a problem. But they're only 6 months in. It's not like they're combining finances right now. And having debt. A lot of people have debt right now. I don't know if you know this, man. A lot of people do. Overall, I think you had good intentions, but you were an asshole with those, and you pushed your insecurities and worries onto your niece. Anyways, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.